Hi and welcome to this MindGenius webinar. Thank you everyone for joining us today. If you're just connecting now and you still don't have audio, in the top right hand corner you'll see the conference audio details. Again, my name is Colin Cooper. We also have Julie Jenkins on the line today as well as a presenter. So if you do have any questions, please put that into the chat box and we'll be able to answer any questions as we go. So a little bit of housekeeping. The format of the webinar, it's basically watch and ask questions as we go. So audio has been disabled, so you can ask questions, as I said, in the chat box up on the screen. Now, today is really about an overview of the MindGenius software. It's certainly not meant to be any form of real training. We do have separate webinars and separate training programs for that. So really today is to show you the basic features of MindGenius and what it's able to do for you, depending on your level of experience. So, who is the webinar for? So, the introduction for this webinar is that this webinar is really for anyone who is wanting to know what MindGenius is about, giving them a little bit more information about mind mapping software and project management. We know that a few of you on today have downloaded the trial and still evaluating it. Also, if you've been a previous user, so if you've been using version 4 or previous versions to that and seeing some of the key more advanced features in MindGenius 5. So a quick overview for anyone who isn't familiar with MindGenius. MindGenius, it's a mind mapping software. It's the leading mind mapping software around the world. We've got over 600,000 active users. It's extremely intuitive the way that we've created the software. It's suitable for single business owners right through to enterprise users. What MindGenius allows you to do is basically take down information and ideas. We've all been to project management meetings or business meetings where ideas and information and concepts start to flow. The problem with that is that there's no real structured way of putting it down. It either goes up on a whiteboard or on a piece of paper, then that gets filed away. What MindGenius allows you to do, number one, it ensures that that information has been captured, and more importantly, it makes sure that it's been utilized and then actioned on. So it basically gives you the way of organizing the information overload, putting it into a brainstorming session, adding task management and project management to it, then allows you to put that information into action, moving those ideas into action. And then very much putting it into very clear reporting, whether you want to export it into Word, Excel, etc. You can also track single projects, single items, as well as multiple projects. So not only is your information being actioned, it's also being tracked as well for you. So the key objectives of today. So it's really to provide you a good overview of what MindGenius is, so you can get a very good evaluation idea to see is MindGenius suitable for you. I'm going to share on how MindGenius is a great productivity tool with sharing some insights. We're going to very much build some live maps today, showing you all the basics of MindGenius. If you do have any particular questions, as I mentioned at the start, please do ask as we go along. Julie is here to assist with those questions. Otherwise, I'm also happy to, at the end of the webinar, take any questions, or you can contact us privately. We do organise single one-on-one sessions as well as group sessions for your project team. So let's jump straight in. So when you first open MindGenius, you're presented with the following screen. So you're presented with this welcome screen here. So I'm going to give you a bit of an overview to what this welcome screen is and some of the key information that we're going to be looking at here. Okay, on the left hand side here you'll see that we have the Map Explorer area. On the right hand side here, you'll see that we've got this Essentials menu, which has got a range of templates and information, which I'll come back to in a moment. In the center section here, you'll see that we've got the mapping area, and in the bottom left hand corner we've got a notes editor, which changes as we go through depending on whether we've got a gallery being shown. This section here of MindGenius we classify as the ribbon area, and the menu going across the top. So the functionality and the look and the feel of this is very similar to standard software, but what we've tried to do is create everything nice and simple and easy, and you'll notice on all of the ribbons we've got key quick information which allows you to work very smoothly. So let's jump straight in here. So getting started, MindGenius itself, if we just click on this plus icons here, we're able to expand these branches out a little bit. So this is the standard welcome screen that you get. You'll notice here MindGenius has been mind mapping since 2001. As I mentioned, that we've got over 600,000 active users, ranging from singular users to teams of project management in high-end use as well. To get started, you've got an area here just on the right hand side which is your maps, so you can either start with a blank map or you can enter in and start to look at some of the templates, which we'll do in a moment. If you do need help and support, we've got help and support on the main.com site as well as on our Australian and New Zealand site, which is the .com.au, for dedicated support. We've got getting started videos and PDFs and a whole range of information on our website, as well as holding these regular webinars. As I mentioned before, is that it's extremely intuitive, so we basically type in return, so there's no need to click and insert. You can basically just start capturing ideas, which I'll show you exactly how that works. Some of the key features here is dragging and dropping, which is very useful when you're building maps. If you're also after key information, again there we've got some basic details there for general inquiries and our main.com email address. Also, if you want to contact dedicated support in Australia, it's info@mindgenius.com.au. So let's jump straight in. So what I'm going to do, on the right hand side here, I'm going to open up one of these templates. So you can open up any of these templates just by left clicking once, and it will bring you up the submenu information. So all of these are singular templates. So for the one that we're going to do today, we're going to do the sales process. So sales process is the one that I want. I'm going to left click on that once. Once I've clicked on that, you'll notice that MindGenius opens up into this window here. It's called the edit branch window. In here I can just start typing information. So here we're just going to call that sample mind map. I'm going to click enter, and you'll notice that has now changed the title. Some of the information in this top ribbon is now, that was greyed out before, is now highlighted because I've got this map to work with. So a couple of key information here that we're going to now cover. This working area here you may want to expand depending on the size of your map. Also on the right hand side here you'll notice that this has now changed. So since I've chosen a template, this has actually changed on this Essentials menu. Necessarily don't need this now, so what I'm going to do, this top right hand corner you'll see a small little arrow pointing to the right. Just left click that once and the menu bar on the right will minimize. If you do need to get that back, it's as simple as just left clicking once on this arrow here, and then that opens back up. Now, as discussed before, we've got the Map Explorer on the left hand side. You'll notice that this is a direct reflection of all the categories in the map, and I'll cover that in a little bit more detail. So some of the key information now across this top menu under the Home area. We've got map layouts, so you may want to change the look and the feel of the map. Now by Now by actually just hovering over on these maps, you'll see that the map below actually changes in information. So for this particular map, we may want to choose this layout here, which is called the output tree. So to hold that in place, I'm just going to left click once, and then you'll see that the map has changed. If you do want to change this back, you just go back to the one that you originally had before, or there is this undo button just in the top area here. By left clicking that once, it will undo for you. A couple of other key items here. We've got a timer. So for example, if you're doing any form of project management work, you may want to actually set a particular timer. You can also set a custom timer as well, so you can have it count down, count up. If you do want to set a custom timer, it's as easy as you can just add time on if you want to, and that will just continue counting down as it is. Question sets. Question sets key questions that are already relating to your task management. We've loaded in, there's a pre-defined installed question sets that we've found extremely useful, and many of our clients do as well. You can also set up your own question sets, and I'll cover more on question sets when we go into the brainstorming session a little bit later. Moving just across to the right of this, we've got something called display levels. Display levels allows you to look at different levels with a click of a button. So for example, if we look at root, it's just going to show a sample mind map, which is the root area. We may want to show the next level down. We may want to show 2 levels. Now as you can see here, I've actually only got 3 levels on this map in total, so including the root. So for here what we've got, we just use this. But if you've got a larger map, then as you can see here, we've got the shortcut key, and you're able to display all levels with a click of a button, or just click all. Now, because I've opened the map up to look at all levels, you can see here that the map is going off the screen. So you have 2 ways of looking at this map. You can either zoom, where you've got a manual zoom here, or you can do the best fit to width, fit to height, etc. The other option here is auto zoom. What auto zoom allows you to do, as you're clicking through, deleting, adding in branches, etc., it automatically adjusts the zoom for you, so you can see it on your screen. So where you can best see this is if I use the map explorer on the left hand side, because as you can see now the map has become quite small, so it's unworkable. Using the map explorer on the left hand side, it allows us to focus on each stage. So if I left click on stage 1, you'll see that this is now auto zoomed in, so now I'm actually able to see the information that I need to do on stage 1. A couple of the other areas here, we've got make focus. We can move back up a level if we want to. Obviously the standard find and replace that you have, we can do different forms of selecting. Pick and pan mode, just a pick and pan mode is this, so pick is that, so to highlight it, so if we want to make any particular edits on that. So for example, if we want to edit an existing branch, we just double left click and then we're able to make certain edits, as you can see here. But if I had that on the pan, it's just moving this around the screen. Okay, now I'm going to put this back onto pick. So now what we're going to look at, adding branches to this map. So I'm going to go across to the insert area here, and I'll show you a little bit more information in a moment. You've got 2 ways of adding branches or siblings or parents, which is explained just here. So if I want to add a branch to say purpose, I can just left click on it once so it highlights it, so we have this orange highlight around it, and I can just start typing on my keyboard. And what happens is, as I start typing, the add a branch window automatically comes up. This is extremely useful because if you're taking information and notes or in a brainstorming session, you're not having to double click or anything that slows you down. You can actually just start typing. And again, for test branch 2, I might want to put some more information in here. So example 2, etc. And as you can see, it starts to fill this map out a little bit more. If I go back to the full view map, you'll see that that information that I was typing in has now been put onto the map. Now we may want to move one of these around. Now at the start I mentioned on how easy it is to move information around on a map, and this is quite important because if you do make a mistake, you may need to move info around. So on here I'm going to left click once, and then I'm going to drag my cursor depending on where I want that branch moved to. So for example, we might want test branch 2 and the child information here moved under activity. So as you can see, it actually gets this highlighted area here called move. I'm going to let go now, and that's moved test branch 2 from here to over here in a very simple format. I hope all this makes sense for anyone. If anyone has any questions, please do ask them as we're going along. Now the other option of inserting information is by doing it under this menu bar here, just by clicking a button. So depending on what you want to do, I added in a parent before it. So you'll see here that's actually added in something before this particular one as a parent to this one. Generally, you'll get your category information in and new branches on how you want, and then you'll expand it out from there. Now what we find extremely useful to break up your maps, depending on whether you're going to be doing a presentation mode, depending on whether you're going to put pictures and other information in, there's a couple of things that you can do. So for example, under this area here under test branch 1, this one here, we may actually want to insert some icons or pictures. So in here we've got the picture gallery. So by clicking on the picture gallery, which are these 4 icons, the other option is that you can get to the picture gallery from here. You just double left click on any one of these icon fields. We've preloaded heaps in here already. So just by double left clicking on any one of these, and then I may want to add test branch into this one. So I'm going to add an icon, and all I've done here is I've made sure that test branch was highlighted like example 1 is now, and then I've just double left click on the icon that I want and it automatically inserts it. Now under the insert area you've got an array of options of where you can edit this picture depending on whether you want to increase the size. Just in the top area here I'm clicking on size plus, or you may want to minimize it. You may also want to change the position of it as well, so you can have it center and behind, etc., below, left, above. If you need some slightly more editing options, you can then just click on the edit picture, and this then allows you to change, clear the size, maintain aspect ratio, etc. You can also change the picture from here. If you want to load in your own picture, you can. Otherwise you can clear the picture and then it empties that picture out. So these are the preloaded picture galleries. Now there may be times that you want to add in your own picture, and the easiest way of doing that is, let's say for example we want to add a picture in for pricing. I'm going to left click once, and then I'm going to click on picture, and then to click on one of these. So we're going to put in, say, the MindGenius logo. As you can see here, the MindGenius logo is loaded in. Just going to make that a little bigger. As you can see there, the picture's loaded in. The same as before with the other picture gallery, same form of editing if you want to. You can manually change the size. You don't have to maintain aspect ratio. So you can do all that and make your maps presentable from all within MindGenius itself. You don't need any other forms of software. Now there may come a time that you need to insert floating pictures or floating text. So we may want to insert a floating picture. So all I've done here is I've just left clicked once and you'll get this arrow and you just draw where you want the picture to be put. I'm going to locate a picture, which is this one here. So this is where it's put it because that's where I asked it to put. As you can see that it's actually not attached to anything. The same process as before about you editing the picture. You're able to then just increase the size, decrease the size, etc. The same also goes for floating text. As you can see here, all I've done is I've just put some floating text in and I'm just moving that around. Now a page break is for larger maps where you can actually put in particular breaks in the map set already for when it's exported into exporting or printing it onto a page. So you can decide where those page breaks appear. The other option is that you can allow MindGenius to automatically do that for you. And the last item on this menu here is something called a mental connection. So basically what this is, it's creating a visible link between two different branches like a connection. So I'm going to show you. So here what we're going to do, we're going to create a mental connection from, say, pricing to test branch 1. And I'm just going to give this a name called example connection. And as you can see here, this has automatically created a connection between pricing and test. You can move this around just by left clicking, holding the mouse button down and just dragging this. So as you can see, it's extremely easy to do that. Now this looks fine in this view here. However, when I move the map to a larger view, it may actually not view that well. Just going to use this quick zoom slider here. This is where the pick and pan comes in quite handy. So you can see that the information that we put in under the Map Explorer area here under stage 1, you can see that we've got the example connection, we've got the picture, and we've got insert floating text. A couple of the other things that we may want to do, we may want to put in a URL as an example. So we might turn around and say that for this area here, we want this to link to a URL. So we're going to click collateral. So I'm using the Map Explorer on the left hand side to allow me to view it in a slightly better view. Under collateral, we may want to turn around and say that we want to put a hyperlink in. By doing that, I'm just typing in the hyperlink address. I can put a description in if I want. And then I just click on OK. And then you'll notice here when you hover over this, it's got the description that I said. And then if you double click on that, that will actually open up into a browser. If you want to remove that or edit the link, you're able to, and then just you've got the view option here as well. What we also find extremely useful when working with any form of mind mapping like this is there will become a time that you want to insert other forms of documentation. We have many users that do this. So you can pretty much insert anything into the MindGenius map provided you've got the software on your computer to open it. So under attachment, you left click once on attachment and then you can click on browse. And under browse, you just locate whatever document that you want to add in to the map. So in this case, I'm going to insert getting started. Going to left click on it once to highlight it and then click on open. It's automatically giving me a description based from the name and the attachment location. When I click on OK, you'll notice that a small icon has appeared next to it. Now also for example 2, I may actually also want to add in some notes, some information about example 2. Now, when we first opened up MindGenius, we had a notes field area here, which I then removed and put the gallery. To get back to the notes field, you've got this little pencil icon here. If you left click once on that, that brings up the notes field here. Now, whenever you type any notes into any of the maps, you'll notice something that happens to the map itself. So those are the notes that I want. You'll notice this pencil icon has now appeared. What that pencil icon means, it means that any of these maps that have any of the branches, that actually have information attached under the notes editor, you'll notice that this little pencil appears. Now, there's no formatting options within this area here. What we try and encourage people to do, if you are setting up the map so it's going to be exported into PDF or Word or something like that for presentations, you're able to do all of your formatting, inserting your pictures all within MindGenius. So when you export it, let's say into Microsoft Word, which I'll show you soon, all your formatting of your bolding, your fonts and everything have been done, and only needs a very, very quick tidy up, so you're not having to do any form of double handling. Now, to add formatting in, you'll notice that there's a small pencil icon here with an arrow pointing down. If you left click on this once, this takes the notes editor from the left and puts the picture gallery there and puts the notes editor docked underneath the map. And then this allows me to make changes. We can bold, we can also do it to this. We can actually also make changes to these notes as well, so we may want to bold these notes. And then when we go to export this, you'll be able to see when it exports into Word, all this formatting that we've done exports across as well. Now, a couple of the other key things with making a map and having the map viewing properly and being formatted properly. Got a few different options here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to change the map layout so you've got a bit more of an idea of a view. We've got instant map styles here that you can color code, so there's a quick reference one. You can browse for more styles if you've actually got particular styles already loaded in, so you can create your own styles if you want to. So we'll change this one to blue. If you want to edit a map style, so we can edit this existing map style of the blue by simply just by clicking on the branch level. So let's say we want to edit level 1. We may want to change the font, and we actually may want to change and make that font 18 in size. What then happens is it changes the whole map. If you want to create a new style, you just click on New Style and then you give your style a name. Within the editor here, this, as mentioned before, that this will actually do the whole map. You can actually choose all the different how the map looks, the type of circles, etc. that's being used if you want to connect to types, different forms of boxes, etc. By simply then choosing what you want and then clicking on OK, it applies that to the rest of the map, which you can now see. Now, you may not want to make changes to the whole map, so you may actually want to make changes and filter key information out. So for example, stage 12, we may want to just change the color of stage 12. And you can do that by left clicking once to highlight it, and the branch appearance menu here, you're able to make the changes that you want. You may also want to do auto numbering. So we've got an auto numbering and an auto color option. So auto numbering toggles on and off just by simply left clicking once, and you'll see that it's added numbers. Because we've already got numbers on our different stages, we don't necessarily need numbers here, so I'm going to take numbers off. We may also not want to go through and color each one ourselves, so we can tell MindGenius with a simple click of a button it will auto color each area. Using colors on maps is very important. It allows you to be able to focus on different areas of the map and the brain as well. It allows it to take information in it more quickly. Also on your map, you may want to add in a background. Many companies have their own backgrounds with logos and information on it. If you'd like some more information or you need assistance with creating a background for your MindGenius to insert in, we do have those services available if you don't have access to a graphic designer. Otherwise, it's very easy. If you've got a pre-background or logo, it's as simple as by clicking on Add Edit Background, click on Select. You can then use our predefined backgrounds that we've loaded in, or you just navigate to choose your own. So for this purpose, I'm going to choose this one here. So I'm going to left click on it once to highlight it, and then I'm going to left click on Open. You're then presented with a couple of options. So you can either tile the background, center the background, or stretch the background. Most maps that we work with, we center the background so it fills the background quite nicely. Hope you can all see how easy that is to insert any background that you want into MindGenius itself. If you want to clear that background, you just click on Add Edit and then click on Clear, and then it takes the background back off again. A couple of the other key information here for making the map look a little bit different. So for example, stage 1 planning, I may actually want to add in a boundary box. So just by hovering over, again, like how the map styles changed, this actually gives me different options of how the map can actually look. You can also change the color of the boundary box as well, just by simply hovering over until you get what you want. You've also got the option of changing connector styles. So we've got something called connector types. So this area here, this line, that's classed as the connector. And as you'll see here, by me changing the connector types, we're able to change the look and the feel of the map quite quickly. If we do want to do a local connector type change, so again, you're able to make map changes to the whole map, or you can make them locally. So we can actually make changes just with the connector types, with just actually having locally based arrows and information. So you can see here, it's added the arrow in for that particular area. And the same goes here for different fonts. You're able to locally change or use, if you want to make changes to the whole map, you use the map styles on the left hand side. Now I hope that's covered all the key information on how making the map a lot easier and to view by using colors and information. The one last thing before we move on to the analysis and task management is that you can actually change the local view of the map. So we've got a particular view here, but you may want to emphasize one of these other areas. So for stage 3 as an example, you can actually change local layouts, which basically means that the layout of stage 1 or stage 3, you're able to change the look and the feel of how that looks there to emphasize it if you want. If you want it to go back to you and use the default map settings, you can just by a click of a button. So just to do that again, I'm left click on stage 3, gone to local layouts, chosen the layout that I would like, and then clicked on it and it's kept it there. And then if I want to remove that layout, it's as simple as going back into it and then left clicking on use default. Now moving on to analyze. At the start of the webinar we spoke a little bit about project management, capturing your ideas down and moving this into actionable information. Well, there's a couple of ways of doing that. Analyzing of category analyzing on the map is a key one, and also task management, which we'll cover in a moment. So right now let's cover analyzing. So what analyzing allows you to do, it basically allows you to quickly categorize your map into different categories here. So for example, with a simple left click on this small arrow here, this allows us to have some predefined. So we may want to add in these items here for stage 2. So we agree, we disagree, items that have high priority or high impact, medium and low, etc, etc. For depending on what you're doing with your project, you can actually create your own categories as well, and you can edit categories if you want to, and change the color. It's all very simple by adding in icons and renaming all through this category editing window here. Now to quickly show you, I'm going to just put a few high impact, and you'll notice by when I'm left clicking on any of these for high impact, it's putting the icon from here, and I'm only left clicking once. It's actually starting to insert it onto the map. To quickly show you a little bit more, I'm going to left click on the map explorer on the left and click on stage 2, and you'll see here that the small little high impact logo icon has actually been added in. Now what this allows me to do, I can quickly then look at this map and go, okay, well I need to know all of the high impact items on this project. Now to do that, there's a couple of ways, but the simplest way is going to this quick filter. Here it's picked up that I've inserted medium and high. It hasn't given me the whole lot because I've only used medium and high. So I might turn around and say, okay, well I want to be able to use the quick filter and just show the high impact items. And as you can see here, it's grayed out the rest and only kept in color the ones that are high impact. It still might be a little confusing looking at this map, so then what I want to be able to do, I'm going to hide all the non-matches. So what I've actually asked it now to do is clear any of the non-matches out so I don't get to see those, and just show me all the high impact. Now we've got a couple of options at this point. We do this a lot with our team, so there might be certain tasks, management and high impact that certain of the staff members and team members need to use, but they don't necessarily need to see the whole map. So at this point we've got a couple of options. We can save this as a map, we can save it as a current view, we can link it as a map, we can also export this to Excel if we want to. So this allows to share this information quite quickly. If we are happy with everything that we've seen and we want to clear and get back to the full map view, you just basically click on clear and it clears the filter options. There's a couple of other key items here that we can look at where you can create a category based map on what we've just spoken about. So it will take just the categories that we've done and then it will create a map based around those categories for you. We do cover this in more detail in our project management webinar. Because keeping an eye on the time, I'm going to keep moving along and we're going to jump in onto the task area. Now this area here is extremely important. Some of the key things on task management, or making sure that your project is running along smoothly, you need to allocate resources and you need to allocate tasks. We've also got something called a Gantt view. Anyone who isn't familiar with Gantt view, it's basically a project management type chart view. It was originally developed back in around about the 1910s, we believe, by a gentleman by the name of Henry Gantt, and it illustrates a project schedule. And I'll show you this in a moment when we convert this map into a Gantt view. But right now I'm going to show you a couple of key things that you can do with a map for converting this into task management. Now, there's a couple of ways of adding in a task. You can either right click on whichever one that you want to work with. So let's make this a little bit bigger. So let's open up stage 1. We may turn around and say, okay, purpose, we need to put some start and action property dates in here. So by right clicking, you'll be given a menu. This is a shortcuts menu, very similar to some of the key items across the top, so you can either use it across the top or on this menu here. Right now we're going to do action properties. What this then allows me to do, this allows me to add in a start date. We're able to add in a finish date if we want to, or a due date, and then when it's completed. We can then start putting in cost and quantities, work duration, what the priority is. Has it been started yet or not? When we're happy with that, I then click OK. What you'll see happen here is that you'll see a calendar that will pop up and a progress bar. Under this area here, if you just hover over it, it will say the start and the due date. It doesn't have any finish date yet, so I might go in here and I may actually turn around and say, okay, well, this has been completed, or it's in progress. So we might turn around and say it's in progress and it's 50% in progress. You'll then be able to see that this has actually got making sure what we were planning to do, and we've got the calendar with a quick hover over. You can see quite quickly that it's 50%, and we've also got this progress bar here as well. You can also allocate resources. For project management, what we've allowed you to be able to do is add in resources. So these might be team members that are allocated to certain key information. So we might turn around and say resource 2, resource 3. You would rename these. You can actually rename these in a few different ways. But the simplest format here would be going through, put your task management in. So the simplest way here is when using resources, these would actually have names next to them, so you can actually label these resources very easily. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to actually manage your resources, and then you can create a resource-based map. So we might have Colin Cooper, Julie Jenkins. When you create a resource-based map, it shows you where your resources are being used, and it gives you a really good task management view depending on the size of your map and resource allocation, making sure that you're not over allocating resources. We go into much more detail on this in our project management webinar. So I'm going to keep moving along here. I'm going to convert this map into a Gantt view. So I'm going to left click once. You then get a warning in here, and it's telling you that obviously it's all going to be converted into a Gantt view. Everything's going to receive a start and an end date and duration. Any branches that you may have already synced or links with Outlook, they will be cleared. And then I'm going to click on OK. What then happens here is that you're presented with this Gantt view. This allows you to make edits in here with changing time, resource allocation, etc. So you're able to change your start dates of when it might start. We're able to double left click. You're able to then start to set due dates, duration on how long the duration is going to be. You can also change for the task name, processor IDs. We're also able to put in constraint type information and the constraint date as well. So we've got the constraint date in there. You can change all this information. We've got a quick reference guide for the Gantt view, which covers some of these key features. So for anyone that is new to the Gantt view, please get in contact with us or hop on our website. We do have a quick reference guide which explains this in more detail. Otherwise, hop onto our project management webinar and we'd be happy to have a chat with you about that. On the left hand side here, we've got the Map Explorer, which I'm going to open up. So same as before with the different views, we've got the key information. Once you've finished in your Gantt view mode, you can see that we've made some slight changes here. I'm going to return, so I want to return to my map and switch the view. You'll now see that all of the map has now changed. It's all being given resource information, start date, completed dates, etc. on each task that we've allocated. So it's changed the map into very much a resource driven task management map now. And to return to Gantt view, you just simply go back into that. Under the Gantt View tab, we've also then got a number of areas here for linking tasks, syncing it with Microsoft Outlook if you wish to. We can also run a project report, so the project report will give us more information on this, which we cover in the project management webinar. But this is the simplest view that you're able to do for doing any form of that task management. Now once you've got your map, there's a couple of people on here that I know that are using Microsoft Project. So the map itself you're able to export to Microsoft Project very easily, and it retains all the key information that you need, and vice versa, and Microsoft Visio. Some of the other information that we're able to export to is Excel. So you can export key information to Excel, which will give you a Gantt view chart if you want. For PowerPoint, so you can export this to PowerPoint if you wish to. Microsoft Word, we use this very regularly for when we're doing any form of presentations or project management presentations. We'll have the map and we'll use the export to Microsoft Word, and as discussed before, this will export all of the images and formatting, which I'll show you in a moment. PDF, that's very self-explanatory. HTML, so you can upload it to the web. Image, so you can export just that view as an image. The other option is you can export it as a compressed package. What compressed package allows you to do, if you've got Word documents and PDFs linked to it, this allows you to export this as a single zip file with all of that information in one area, and then send it to a colleague or someone that you want to work with. The other option that you're able to do is use Microsoft SharePoint for sending information around. You can also use Dropbox or other items like that for sharing information as well. You can send the map as an application for different mobile apps. You can also send it as an email attachment. So as you can see here, you've got multiple ways of sharing the information out of this map if you wish to. So the simple one that I'm going to show you today, I'll just show you the one, and it's going to be a Microsoft Word export. So what we're going to do here, I'm just going to do this. So I've left clicked once on Microsoft Word. It then opens up a window for where you would like to save it. I'm going to save this to the desktop. You then get another option here where you've got a couple of options to do with general options and what's going to be included. So here you might be able to want to use one of your existing corporate templates. So you might have a letterhead or something you want to export it with. You can maintain notes formatting if you wish, as I mentioned before. So we're just going to do that. It's asking, do we want to normalize and use normal text for below the branches? What this tries to do is, although that from an image point of view on the screen you may want to have lots of different changes as in font sizes, but in a Word document you may not want it. So here we're going to tell it to put the image on its own page. And inclusions, I'm going to tell it that I want the entire map. If you didn't want the entire map, you can just do a different view and it will just export that view. Here I'm going to then click on OK. And then what happens, that this then starts to export this map into Microsoft Word for you, with as much formatting and information as possible. What happens here is then we've got the Microsoft document which has opened up. We've got a navigation heading area here which has already been inserted in, and as you can see, it's exported all the information out of the map. Because we've got a resource driven map, it's exported all the information to do with the start date, completed dates. I could have told it to turn that off if I wanted to. It's also included the images that we've put in, including the icons and the high impact. Now, as you can imagine, as a much fuller map with more information, it would have actually inserted all that and exported all that information and notes field that we've put in. The notes that I put in were here. As you can see, that's exported everything, kept all the formatting, so it saves a lot of time moving forward. Another area here that we're going to just quickly cover is the tools area. Under the tools area you've got spell check, word count, got a review mode where you can share the map and you can actually put different forms of information on here if you want to. This is what happens in the review mode. So I can send the map, add comments, etc. Very similar to how Microsoft Word Review uses. Also under tools you've got an area here where you can edit question sets, which we'll come to as finishing up, where we'll open a quick brainstorming session up. Also double checks any of the help and key information, making sure you've got the latest version, etc. So now moving on, we're going to cover just quickly onto a brainstorming session. What a brainstorming session allows you to do is very quickly take key information down on and about a map. So what I did here was I left click on this small down arrow and then left click on new brainstorm. The same on how it worked before. You just basically start typing and then press enter. You'll see here that this view is slightly simpler and easier to use for just taking down quick information. I'm going to move this across a little bit so I've got a little bit more information to play with. So for question sets, these are predefined question sets that we've already loaded in. So for now I'm going to say, okay, well, we want to do a question set on marketing. And you'll see here that this is actually preloaded in questions. Now you may not want to use all the questions, but that's okay. What I'm going to start doing now, I'm going to start typing in some key information. You'll notice here that this has got link ideas to selected questions. This is quite important. I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but this allows you to create something called a question-centric map. So what I've done here, I've just clicked on a few of the questions through here, but if you can imagine that you're going through these, filling in information, you then may want to then turn this into a question-centric map. What this allows me to now do, take all those questions, the key information that we've just typed in of those answers, and then by clicking on OK, it automatically takes that information and then creates a map for us with the question and the answers that we just spoke about, which is this one here. If you would like some more information on how to use question-centric maps or a bit more information on how to edit your own question sets, please get in contact with us and we'll be more than happy to do a dedicated session on that with you. So what's next? Today we've basically covered a good overview, and I hope that all of the users on today you found it extremely useful. So if you're an existing user and you need more information, do get in contact with us because we'd be more than happy to assist you with any particular training or specific training that you may need. If you're evaluating MindGenius, we do hope that this has answered all of your questions. If it hasn't, do get in contact with myself or Julie or the rest of our team. Or if there's a particular feature that you're still unsure of, we'd be more than happy to show you how that is. I can see that there's many people, most of the people on today are from Australia and New Zealand, which is great. We do have dedicated support here, both telephone, email and live help desk, so do use that. If there are any questions, please do type them in now and I'd be more than happy to answer them. Okay, excellent. Well, this webinar has been recorded, so we'll be loading this up onto our website and we'll be sending you the link out. So if there do have any more questions or you would like to rewatch this webinar again, please check your email in the next couple of days. And thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to working with you.